If traveling around the world and working directly from your laptop rings a bell, then this video is just for you. Hey, what's up, Freedom Nation? It's Drew Romeo, and I'm here to bring you another value-packed video on how to travel the world while working from your laptop. On this video, I had the opportunity to sit down with my man, Jerry Moore, who is a certified globetrotter, running his own podcast and running his own gym, which he co-owns with his partner back in the United States. Jerry has been through multiple countries, and now he's on his track to go to his next one. I had a chance to sit down with him in Thailand during my trip there. We became good friends, and we thought this video would bring some value to those of you who are truly interested in living out the laptop lifestyle. You guys, we're trying to take you to places. Let's go places. Jerry, thanks for coming on here, man.
Yeah,
I really do appreciate you just coming on. Jerry and I were talking for a bit, early on this trip about how we came to this space and, what got us to pretty much to this point in our lives. And so, in midway through our conversation, I said, this would be a wonderful video for people who actually have similar questions.
Yeah.
So instead of me giving tidbits of what we talked about, I'm just going to say, ask you a question. The first one's going to be, who is Jerry Moore?
Who is Jerry Moore? I'll give you the brief, short answer because it's long. So I was in college, played college golf. Outside of college, I went straight into the fitness industry. And that's kind of where I started my business, basically. Day one out of school, I was hired on as a manager at a fitness facility. So I was doing sales. I turned that into training and turned that actually into a business with one of the trainers I met at the gym. So we ran that facility, art facility, for 3 years. And at the end of 3 years, I actually decided to kind of go outside of the gym and work remotely for the gym while my partner runs the gym from the facility, where it's kind of operating smoothly now.
Awesome.
And here I am now traveling for 4 months, just taking some time to test out some different stuff and see the world.
So far, now you've been out for 4 months. What countries have you been to already?
So I started in Greece, which is where my business partner is from. So we actually do a trip with the entire gym, well, not the entire gym, but some of the members from our facility to Greece every year. So we had like 40 members in one of the remote islands in Greece, which was really cool. So I started my journey in Greece, and then from there did a couple more islands in Greece, went to Australia for 3 months, and Singapore, and now here to Thailand to meet you guys, actually, for my sister for the conference you guys were at.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, so you and your sister, your sister and I have actually been working together for a bit, and she also does YouTube. So, everybody that I've met so far in Thailand and just kind of like in the airports, believe it or not, this is like one of the hotspot hubs for, if you guys don't know, like Thailand, Bali, Indonesia. These countries are really big on housing like digital nomads. But you don't have to be a digital nomad, obviously, to just be bouncing around. But just due to cost of living, I think people just find it's like the popular thing to do, right?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, the lifestyle is, it's nice, it's hot, it's beautiful here. Everything's super cheap. And like you said, there's a lot of people doing it. And if you can find powerful Wi-Fi, that's the nice thing about working online, is you can kind of just do whatever you want.
So the other thing is that I noticed that you also had a podcast, and we talked about that, right? So you started off with the gym. It was you and your partner, right?
Right.
Who's currently running it now?
Yes.
Okay. Are you still part ownership? You have ownership?
Yeah. So I'm still working remotely, doing like the ads and some of the stuff on the computer, but very, very minimal. We kind of put some systems in place, and he's doing the bulk of the work for sure. Got you.
And did you decide to do or start your podcast after the fact? Like once you started traveling, is that when you started doing podcasting?
Yeah. So I actually started. When I first started traveling, I was doing like travel style videos for YouTube, and it was okay. I just didn't like fully fall in love with it. I fell in love with doing it occasionally. Like I like doing 1 or 2 videos, like 1 video a week or 1 video every other week. But I didn't like the video every day style thing. The workload was really high, and I didn't really feel like, I guess, that I was being authentic enough when I was doing that style of work. So I went into kind of a podcasting, which is similar to what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And because I was noticing that I was meeting a ton of really interesting people along the way, whether that be some talking about culture, talking about business, talking about anything. I was just having all of these really profound conversations that I felt like that I could share with people and would be interesting. And that's when I decided to kind of move over into podcasting more.
Awesome. And, you know, if you guys noticed down below in the description, the podcast that Jerry interviewed me for one of his podcasts.
Yeah.
It's going to be down in the description below. When we did our podcast, I found it really interesting. Nobody really asked me about like what my game plan was, and we'll get to that in a second. I really am interested about what direction you're headed. Being that you've been traveling and bouncing around quite a bit, right?
Right.
What's your what takeaways have you gotten so far? Like, do you know what you want to do now? Because I noticed, like in your podcast, you definitely have a mix of different people that you kind of interview.
Yeah.
Is there like a target audience in particular?
For the direction of the podcast, I'm still a little bit broad on it right now. But I know the message that I want to pass is I want to help people as far as like confidence goes and inspiration goes, and as far as how can they financially do something different, you know, kind of break out of the shell of the normal job,
Right.
Or just try something they've been wanting to do,
Right.
whether that's do a different job. Maybe it's even going into interview at a different place, because I feel like people get stuck into their routines of the normal 9 to 5, whatever it is, and they don't try to move up or to change positions or anything just because that's their routine and that's all they know. So partially that, and partially if they want to do the travel thing, which, you know, I definitely highly recommend, obviously because it's just a huge mental expansion, I think,
Right.
To see different cultures and stuff like that. How can they do that financially through, you know, online marketing or whatever that may be? Any kind of tips that I can give them on travel?
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, and likewise for me, like the breaking away from that day-to-day mentality, that 9 to 5 is really, really hard to break because it's consistent, right? You know that you're getting a check at the end of 2 weeks or how
Right.
often you get paid. You know it's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
You know your schedule. There's no guessing in between.
Yeah.
And anybody who's being told or wanting to do something else, like following their passions,
Yeah.
you're threatening that security, that blanket, right?
Yep.
And doing something different will put you out of your comfort zone, which
Yeah.
then puts you essentially become an alien in your own world.
Right.
Because everything around you is no longer the same.
Yeah.
Like likewise for me coming here in Thailand, I made that decision literally 5 days before my flight,
Yeah.
when everything was going to happen, the conference, and I made that decision. So I heard a podcast which really actually helped me. I know you were mentioning you listen to Gary Vee,
Yeah.
you listen to Tony Robbins, very similar to the type of people I listen to. And what helped me was that he just said, just do it, because the time it takes for you to actually make that decision
Yeah.
is really allowing yourself to talk your way out of it.
Yeah.
And we have a habit of doing that all the time. So I'm here because I actually said, let's just do it. And because I'm here, I was able to meet you,
Right.
find out more about what you do. We went to the conference. We were able to pick up, you know, major amounts of information that we can pass on to the audience now.
Right.
So now, back over to you. Where do you see yourself going from here? So now you're in Thailand, you went to Australia, you've been to Greece. What's your next stop? What are your next future plans?
Yeah. So before I go into that, actually, I want to kind of touch back on what you were just talking about, because I think I have two like interesting points on that.
Yeah.
One, you were definitely talking about, you know, just make the decision, and I think that's hugely important. I think that people, you know, sitting on the fence about something, you know, standing, you know, do I go left? Do I go right? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Takes so much time, and you lose speed, because you know you're trying to make the right decision, okay? And you'll never know. That's the thing. Like, you choose left, you'll never know what will happen if you chose right, and if you choose right, you'll never know what happened if you choose left.
Yeah.
So you should use the information you have on hand and make a decision quickly, so that you can learn from that and move forward. Because staying in between is just, you're just spinning in circles.
Yeah.
And then on the second point, when I kind of chose to do this, it was I really made a plan. This wasn't like me saying, I have no money, I have no plan, I'm just going to go buy a ticket and I'm gone, and I'm going to figure it out. It
Right.
wasn't like that at all. I had planned to do this for about 10 months.
Okay.
And during that time, I like extremely cut my budget in all directions. So I cut my cable off.
Okay.
I was selling furniture. I was cutting all of my subscriptions off. I was selling stuff in my house that I didn't need.
Okay.
I wasn't going out on the weekends. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't going out to eat. Like all of these things for 10 months.
So
to
full
save
blown
money.
minimalist
Yes.
lifestyle. Cool.
And what I found with that too is it allowed me to really focus on work. Because if I didn't have TV, what was I going to do? I was going to work.
Right.
You know? And that improved my relationship with my friends and increased my business as well. You know, my business started to increase. And then when I came out here, again, the same thing. I had a plan on how much I was going to spend. I had a budget. And I actually have some videos on like how I budgeted and stuff like that, and
Awesome.
some podcasts, so you guys can check those out too. But yeah, it was much more like that than saying, oh, you know, I want to do this, and tomorrow I'm going to do this.
Right.
If you say, okay, I want to do this, say, okay, in 6 months I'm going to do this, and here's how I'm going to do it in 6 months.
Gotcha.
Or in 8 months I'm going to do this, because you have to make the sacrifice first.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if you haven't made the sacrifice, you haven't paid the ticket, you haven't been saving money,
Yeah.
you haven't been working online, you can't just tomorrow quit and leave with $1,000. I mean, you can, but I don't think you're going to like the experience.
Gotcha.
You know?
So before you get any deeper, I want to structure what you're saying, because
Yeah.
and at the end of every video that I want to put out now is going to be like strictly value and encapsulated with actionable items and tips they can do right away. That viewers can actually get off of this video and actually take action. So give somebody who is watching this video right now,
Yeah.
who doesn't know what to do, but they want to do something different.
Yeah.
What are some action tips that they can do right now to start saving and see? Like you mentioned 10 months, you mentioned selling your stuff, you mentioned putting away some money. Like give us some like round numbers. How much would you want to save, you know?
Yeah. So obviously, like your budget in Asia is much different than your budget in Australia and Europe.
Cool.
So like in Europe, I was finding $100 a day was safe for me. Was comfortable to take care of my travel, to take care of my food, to take care of my hostel, to take care of any activities and tours I wanted to do. So that's $3,000 a month, which is a lot. I budgeted high. I budgeted that, and that's how I planned. I plan to err on the high side. So if they're 10 months out, and let's say they want to travel for 6 months, they need to know where they're going to be traveling. So again, Asia is going to be half to a third of that price.
Right.
Australia is going to be a much higher price, and really where you get crushed is transportation.
Gotcha.
So if you don't plan your trip out, like you just get smoked on flights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the first thing is definitely taking a budget.
Yeah.
So you need to take into account what you're currently spending and what you're currently making. Okay, so you have your items down on the left side, what I'm currently making, what I'm currently spending. Rent, cell phone, health insurance, everything. Every single coffee, orange juice you get, it's got to go down on the budget. And you have to take a realistic view on what you're really spending.
Right.
Because say, you know, man, I spend like $3,000 a month on everything because I have rent and this and that. It's not real. You have to see how much coffee how much your coffee at Starbucks every day costs.
Yeah.
You know, how much your Spotify, you know, that $10, how much does that cost?
Yeah.
You know, all of it's got to go down.
Gotcha.
Then you can take this budget and you can cut things. Boom, 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 boom. Cut things. Okay. And okay, so that's gonna say, okay, so I can, by cutting these things, I'm gonna save $500 a month.
Right.
So over 10 months, that's gonna save me $5,000. Okay. So let's say that I need $20,000 for my trip. Okay. Well, in 10 months, I have to make $15,000. How do I do that? Well, great. You don't have a TV, you don't have internet, you're not going out on the weekends, you're not doing all of these extra things. So now you have time to get a side hustle.
Right.
Perfect. So
Gotcha.
you know, you can either choose to do something online to where you can make money and you can work remotely, which is probably the best option, or two, you go and just get a side hustle, whether that's, you know, bartending, or whether that's, you know, flipping things, or whether that's mowing grass or doing leaves. I mean, I did that forever. Cutting grass, shoveling driveways, doing leaves, like that was my thing. I would just go up literally with
Pride is a big thing too, and when you mentioned like those are big, like a lot of people are like, I'm above, you know, raking leaves, I'm above cutting grass. Like when it comes to really going after for what you want, you got to be willing to do that sacrifice. Period. Period. So that's some really good tips on that, man. Anything else you wanted to add on that?
No. I mean, you would be surprised how much you can crush it by taking a shovel after it snows. Right. Door to door. Hey man, I'll do your driveway $20. I'm telling you. Right. You make $60 an hour cash.
Right.
No tax. No.
Right. Just go to the table. So now to summarize, pretty much what you're saying is that if anybody was planning to do what you do, pretty much planning is super critical.
Yeah, man. For me, it was. I know a lot of people can do this and make the jump and kind of pick up random jobs in places, but I knew that's not what I wanted to do.
Right.
I wanted to be working on videos, and I wanted to be working on my career as I traveled, which, you know, having money saved gives you that opportunity to do that.
Right.
You know, I know you can go to Australia and do a working visa tomorrow. Like you apply for it, it's like $200, and if you're under 30 years old, you can work for a whole year in Australia, and the minimum wage is something like $14 US. I mean, you can make $20 US with no experience or anything, just going out, passing out resumes pretty easily.
Right.
Live in a hostel, save up money. And a lot of people do that in Australia too.
Okay.
They live in a hostel, they work 50, 60 hours a week for a couple months, and then they take a couple months and they travel.
Right.
And they work, and then they travel, and they work, and they travel. So, you know, that's an option too.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
My man's a true traveler, y'all. So if you guys take the tips from the man himself, I want to bring people on here who are actually doing what we talk about on the channel. Jerry actually does it. Like, he's been there. He's 4 months out away from home. You know, nobody's doing his laundry. He's doing everything from beginning to end. Like, you got to understand. So, and that's totally outside of being in comfort zone. Like, this is the epitome of being outside of your comfort zone. And the reason why I brought him on here is really to just show you a real life example of what it's like. This is what it looks like, okay, when you travel. He planned, so you got to have you've got to have a detailed plan. I mean, down to the coffee you sip every day.
Yeah.
All right. Cut out those expenses that you don't need. You only keep the things you need. Okay. And also that goes with selling stuff that you also don't need, because that racks up some cash in the bank that you don't have to touch, right?
Yeah, I mean, I went down to my basement and I was like shocked on shit that I had for 8 years. And I had been like, one day I'm going to use this, and like 8 years later, I'm like, holy shit, I haven't touched this in 8 years.
Yeah, you know, I got a couple things I think I could sell myself.
man,
I mean, now that you mentioned it, but like, I mean, these are things you just got to do. And once you do that, I think you'd be amazed by how much you can accumulate in such a short time. I mean, then you can pick up extra time at work if you want to do overtime, because whatever your goal is, whether it's to quit the 9 to 5, I really highly recommend a period of where you save up for 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, where you can not have to work fervently on your passion while keeping costs low. So that way you can consistently have cash in the bank and use what you need, being frugal. And then if whatever you're working on begins to grow or flourish, you'll then be able to reap the benefits of that. And so Gary, being a traveler, I mean, he's like firsthand, if you want to actually leave the States and do something different like he is, he's giving you all the steps right now, okay? Yeah. So, I mean, geez, I mean, I really commend you for that. So now my question here, we talk about how to make money online and how to do affiliate marketing, and not just that, but just pretty much making money online is such a broad term. So I want to bring live examples of how to make money online. Do you want to continue, is your plan to go back and continue 9 to 5, or are you trying to get away from that and do your own thing?
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, I'm still working remotely for the gym right now, doing marketing and stuff like that. But getting into the new stuff that I've been doing, the podcasting, stuff like that, I'm really enjoying that, and I'm definitely like pursuing that direction pretty hard.
Okay.
And I'm going to give that like a real shot, you know, over the next, 4 or 6 months, whatever, and see kind of if I can catch any traction with that and see where that takes me.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully we meet up again. I'd like to do a follow-up podcast to see where you are in like a year or so, man.
Yeah.
Jerry, thanks for coming on, bro. All right, guys, if you haven't already, subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. If you have any questions for Jerry, I'll go ahead and have him have access to the comment section. He'll go ahead and respond. I'll be definitely responding in the comments. A link to the podcast we shot is going to be below there, and also Jerry's YouTube channel as well. He has a YouTube channel. He records his podcast so you can see a live view. It's going to be in the description as well. Hope to see you guys later. Keep hustling, keep crushing it. Peace.